Good morning. Good morning. I originally wasn't going to go live this morning, but because it's Thursday. Usually it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but here lately I've been going every day. I don't know if it's anxiety, perplexion, confusion, boredom. Who knows? Uh, Life of a dispatch service can be up and down, go from 0 to 100, and then back down to less than 0. So um, let's excuse me. Let's get this rolling here. I appreciate everybody coming in. Let's fix the chat here for a second, and then we'll be. I want to talk about something. I'm at 4,496 subscribers. I'd like to get up to $5,000 this year. That's my goal for YouTube. It's not my only goal, but so if you don't mind, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell, all that jazz. If you're watching the replay, I appreciate that. For the people who have given me super thanks instead of super chats, that's been cool too. Thank you very much. I'm very grateful for you. Let's see. There we go. Doink. All right. So, I've got some positive feedback from having Big Rig CEO on yesterday. I'm going to cut up that part of the video and put that up as a separate video. I was able to download it, and then I realized that I still had the live feed I did last month where I had a bunch of good people in my live feed. I had Asian Mai, DIY, Pneumatic Brit, and Stuart, among others, and I want to cut that one up. That one's going to take a little bit because that went on for, I think, 2 or 3 hours. I don't know what my longest. I think it might have been my longest live feed. I hated it for it to end, but at some point, I got to rest. I'm not one of these, like James Best. I'm not like this 8-hour live feed marathon guy. I can't stand myself for that long, right? What I wanted to talk about today is in regards to the spot market and what I'm dealing with. And I want to know from all of you that are in the spot market if you're dealing with the same thing that I am. I was talking to Adam yesterday afternoon, and we were both venting our frustrations. And his issues are different than the issues I was having, but we were kind of like, we were just venting to each other what we're dealing with, and there's a few things that need to be said. And CDN, he had kind of touched on it yesterday, in a text yesterday. Let me read that text to myself. I won't read it out loud here. Well, maybe I will. Who knows? I was texting you a lot, Rob. Let's see. Do. A good topic is: are you acting your wage? What are the actions of an owner operator making 50,000 versus 75,000 versus 100,000? That's it. That might be a good topic. CDN always has great topics. He's constantly throwing me material, which is a good spot to be in. I mean, Asian Mai, mother trucker, he doesn't have to look for content. Content looks for him, and that's kind of where I'm at too, which is cool. But and Jose, I'm going to get to that comment. I agree with you on that. So I'm finding myself having some different things happening. My goal yesterday was to book 4 loads. I booked 2 and had to give 1 back. And I just left it at the end of the day. I was just frustrated, because here's what I'm encountering, and let me get to the comments, and then we'll start that story. So we'll do the morning shout outs. Pneumatic Brit, good morning. Jose, good morning. Sean Fairman, Pumpkins, Britt, TBT, good morning from Massachusetts. Ah, that looks fun up there. The weather looks fun. Are you having fun up there, TBT? Pneumatic Brit says, Sean, nothing Woody's in the house. Bull of the Woods. Happy birthday. Happy belated birthday there, TJ. Alfalfa. Hey, y'all. What's up, people? A surprise Thursday live. You can't get enough of it, apparently, right? Can't get enough. I can't get enough. I'm a YouTube addict, as some people call me. Shannon says, good morning from sunny, wonderful Tampa, Florida. Taking the day off and hanging out with my sister today. Good deal. Always good to hang out with family. Desert Okie Pam, good morning. Good morning, Steve. I humble watch with my tail between my legs after that bad experience yesterday. No worries, CDN. It's not even really a second thought. It just kind of goes with well, we could talk about that later. Mrs. TBT, good morning. All right, everybody's saying hi to each other. Pneumatic Brit says, hit the thumbs up. Do what the tanker yanker says. Dealing with rates dropping again and fuel itching up again. I am going to agree with you on that. Hello, YouTube. It's your favorite American local tanker yanker checking in from the recliner, watching the show. Excellent. Let's see. Morning. Who brought the coffee? I can't seem to find it. I got my favoriteest mug, my Iron Maiden mug. I need more Iron Maiden mugs. TJ's got a road weather report. FYI, if anyone's heading into Oregon from Idaho westbound on I-84, it's closed due to high winds. It's rare that they close roads to winds, so it must be bad. Just leaving Gary OC and heading to Iowa with 1,900 pounds of flammable liquid. So driving but listening. It's that Gary OC is kind of a neat place. It's a safe place. I mean, I wouldn't want to spend the night anywhere else around there, but the parking lot's kind of a free for all at some points, and it's all gravel and dirt, which is kind of dumb. But anyways, I want to go back to Jose's comment here. Dealing with rates dropping again and fuel inching up again. So here's it's become bipolar, right? And fuel is inching up, right? But when it comes to rates, here's what I was dealing with yesterday. If I called on a load, they were not budging. Not even $50. They just were not budging. They were holding fast, even though I'm looking at load volumes and they're through the roof. No, well, I'm not going to say through the roof, but they were pretty decent in the areas that I was looking at. And it just shows you how much of a mental game this whole game is, because I think that, you got people that are getting off their Christmas break. You have people like, well, I guess I'll run. The weather played a factor. And so there was a bunch of loads where they would be 40 to 50% below 15-day value. And then you had ones that were like maybe 10% above 15-day value. You call on those, and it's got some situation where it picks up on Tuesday, delivers Friday, and it's only 500 miles. Or it's a drop trailer. Drop trailer for 72 hours. There was one that was like 30% below the 15 value, and it was a drop trailer on both ends. And that's one of the most frustrating aspects of January is that you got to sort through. It's like the bargain DVD bin at Walmart. You know, you got to sort through all the crap just to maybe find one DVD if you're into that kind of thing. And like I won't put this on the screen, but there was one from Anderson, Indiana to Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, reefer load. The 15-day market was 2653, and they had it at 1600 for 792 miles. And of course, the psychological trick of don't even bother calling me because I'm not going to budge very much, you know, worked. I wasn't about to call them. It was a broker I'd never heard of either. Which, you know, some people say that those are the best brokers, but in this day and age, who knows what you're going to get. And so I found myself getting very frustrated, not to mention that I've had a couple of trucks land in bad areas, no fault of my own, because that's where they wanted to start using me, which is fine. And so we are, you know, there were some rates coming out as 80 cents a mile. And I recognize that. I understand the game. But then these brokers are emailing, they're calling. My phone lit up yesterday. Do you have an empty truck here? Do you have an empty truck here? I'm desperate. Do you have an empty truck? And so I made a mental note of where these brokers are needing empty trucks at because they were willing to pay and they can't find good carriers. And here I am. I got several good carriers under my belt and I can't find a good broker or a good load. And that's the perplexing part of it. How do I connect that? And it was kind of frustrating to say the least. You know, I was texting back and forth with Adam and we were like, this sucks. And he's like, yeah, this sucks. And, you know, and we talked for about an hour, I think, yesterday. And look, I'm not griping because I understand that I'm a part of this game. I get it, right? I'm not brokers are going to do what they're going to do. Drivers are going to do what they're going to do. That's just part of the industry. It's part of the game. It's part of the experience. And that's why the most important thing you can do is just have a calm, cool head. Because when everything else falls apart, that's all you got left. And, you know, I believe I threw an ink pen into the living room because I was so mad at a couple of times. So I get emotional, I get reactive. I just don't do it on YouTube, right? But I enjoy the game, except for days like yesterday. And it's amazing to me because you got to look at it from both sides. When I call on somebody that I hope is professional and they're not, I also remember the fact that they've probably already talked to 20 drivers that weren't professional in and of themselves. Because as the day progresses and I'm more frustrated, I am less patient on the phone. I'm not mean, I'm not an ass, but I'm also like, Hey, how you doing? How's it going? You doing all right today? I'm not. That's out the window. I'm just like, hey, calling on your load from here to here. Can you tell me the details? Uh, it's a load of stuff. It could pick up any time between now and Thursday, or now and Friday, and it delivers Friday morning. 800 miles. No temperature. It's pork. Okay. I'm not Muslim, so that's cool. We're good. Um, you could even drop a trailer if you want. Like, so what are we doing here? And then, and look, in his voice, I could tell that he was frustrated because he had a really good rate on this load, a little too good. And that's the other thing. When you're seeing everything being 40% less than what it normally is, then all of a sudden you got that one that's 20% more. There's something wrong with that. It makes you go, huh? It's either got 15 stops or it delivers in the Bronx, with 5 stops, or it's a drop trailer for 2 weeks. Or the broker's got a Gmail account out of California. It doesn't even show up on the factoring's website. So the old adage of if it's too good to be true, it probably is. And it's a shame because maybe things wouldn't be so challenging for us as drivers, for us as carriers, and it may not be as challenging for the brokers if we can just put our heads together, find a reasonable rate, and create some consistency. I know that's asking a lot. The truth of the matter is the entry level on both sides, both the brokerage and carriers, is a low entry level. You can go out and get your broker's bond, and with a little bit of money, you can start brokering freight. Now, is it that easy? No, but just like I talk to people that own a carrier that don't even have a CDL. That's how easy that is. If you got some capital, you can go out and buy a truck and trailer, get your own authority. Hell, you don't even have to do that. You can go down to Pack Lease, and they'll supply you the truck, the IFTA, the IRP, the insurance. They'll supply you everything. Put a driver in it, you're good to go. A little bit of money down, some good credit. You can start a trucking business. And the most important thing has always been ignored and will always be ignored. And they're doing everything they can to replace that thing that they're ignoring. And that's the human element. When I talk to a broker, I'm talking to a human being who knows what's going on in his or her life, who knows what situation they're in, who knows what pressures that they're under, who knows where their mindset is, what their understanding of the situation is. Because just like you got truck drivers that don't understand how this business really works, you have brokers that are the same way. Just like you have carriers that want nothing but the highest rate, no relationships with brokers, you got brokers that want the lowest rate, no relationships with carriers. And that seems to be the dominant force. Meanwhile, the brokers that understand that are emailing me and I can't supply them trucks because people's trucks are either down or they're not running in those areas. And so it's kind of like being in the window and seeing all the opportunity and nothing can quite connect. And that's That's frustrating. You have carriers that are doing everything they can to create business relationships. And one of the elements is that it's either the trucks or the equipment that are failing, or the drivers. You got a bunch of don't wanters. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. And well, you're in a market where you can't afford that luxury. You've got costs that you can't afford that luxury. You know, if someone said that, Steve, you're going to lose your house, you're going to lose your family unless you run coast to coast. Well, guess what? I'm jumping in the truck. I'm running coast to coast. Will it suck? Yeah, but that's better than bankruptcy. That's better than my wife divorcing me because we're $100,000 in debt. And there's no money and kids are starving. You know what I mean? And because we've been spoiled for the last year and a half, 2 years, the don't want itis is strong. So, and I'm venting here a little bit, but that's the reality. I know so many carriers that are struggling, not because of anything that they're doing, but because of the drivers not wanting to do anything, not understanding the game that they've put themselves in. This is the spot market. If you want to be self-dispatched in the spot market, guess what? You have to deal with brokers. You have to deal with the volatility. You have to deal with the fact that one day you can get a home run and then the next day you're sitting for 2 days. Or you're running for a buck a mile. Pick your poison. You're going to have to take that load to Chicago. You're going to have to take that load to, you know, BFE. You're going to have to go in the mountains at times. You're going to have to do those multiple stops. Complacency kills. Ego kills. Pride comes before a fall. And if you truly want to make it in this business as a broker or as a carrier or as a driver, you have to have you have to develop a mindset that goes above and beyond what the other people are willing to do. That's the reality of the situation. And so we can look at all these load boards, we can look at all these graphs, we can watch freight waves all we want. And look at the sonar, look at DAT, look at 123, look at Truck Stop, look at Doft, look at Truck Smarter. We can look at all of that and we can bitch and we can cry. But the reality is that you're in the game. Sometimes even the kicker of the football game has to make a tackle. You know, we had a good live feed with Big Rig CO yesterday on being proactive on finding your own parts. Because guess what? The dealerships aren't going to do it for you. No one's going to get on eBay. No one's going to get on Amazon. No one's going to call the dealerships outside of the network for a part that may not break your business. No one's going to hand you a loan. There are plenty of people that are willing to hand you a truck and make you a slave, with that big, huge, high payment. And it's up to you to determine whether it's worth it or not. So that's so if you're a don't wanter, 2023 is going to be a difficult year for you. If you hate dealing with brokers, these games are not going to get any better or any easier. If your costs are too high, you're going to feel it. And all it would take would be and here's the reality of the situation. All it's going to take is for fuel to reach another buck a gallon, and a lot of you are done. Hell, even I might be done. And so you have to have as much fitness as you possibly can. Mental, financial, physical, and spiritual. That's how you're going to get through this. And if you're willing to file bankruptcy versus just running for an extra couple of days, then this is why you struggle. And I know people that have made all the right moves. They've done all the right things. They have all the right mindset and they still struggle. It's not like, that's the thing with toxic positivity. You read all these memes and inspirational quotes and deep thoughts and you see them, they got sunsets or beautiful mountain scenery and talking about don't let anybody control your life and you know if you want to be a millionaire, you got to have this and this, all this stuff that, gives you this expectation of perfection. And that's doing more harm than good. Inspirational quotes don't mean squat if you don't have the right mindset. In fact, they could be worse for you. They'll make you depressed. Well, I'll never reach that thing of perfection, so might as well not even try. And I'm played with that too. The world is tough. Business is tough. It's not fair. It's not fair that Schneider can go in and buy a Freightliner for, half the price that you're going to pay off the dealer floor for you and me. It's not fair that they can buy fuel in bulk and in futures to save while I got to pay full price at the pump because I don't have a good fuel card. Is that fair? No. It's not fair that, you know, that C.H. Robinson can come in on a shipper and take all that freight and then a small brokerage can't because they've signed a big contract with C.H. Robinson who's got the people and the resources and the power to go in and wine and dine and schmooze. That's not fair, is it? Life's not fair. The gazelle thinks that the life is not fair when it comes to the lion. Meanwhile, the lion's like, hell yeah, it's fair. You can run. Gives you a fighting chance. That's all life gives you is a fighting chance. And I have to remember these things when I have a frustrating day, and so should you. They are working, whether you think it's a scam for investors or whatever, but they are trying to eliminate the driver as much as possible. And when you look at YouTube, like like bonehead truckers that they have every right to. And that's the thing. You can sit here and say, well, I'm gonna buy 2 or 3 trucks, put people in them, and I'll make all this money. Okay, are you a good person? Are you a good people person? Are you going to take care of the right drivers? Because guess what? The really good drivers out here are probably making 100, 120 grand as a company driver. They're not on Craigslist or Facebook looking for a job. They're not going to sign on with the good drivers. They're not going to sign on with or stay with the company that will do nothing but take advantage of them. The good companies have the good drivers, and they know how to keep a hold of them. Driver retention should be the number one most important thing if you own multiple trucks. People ask me why I don't put somebody in my truck. Well, because I don't have the resources or the capital to keep a good driver happy. Not enough money, not enough meat on the bone. I can't sit there and afford, a week's worth of hotel if they blow a turbo in Cheyenne, Wyoming. And I can't afford to pay them for downtime. If as a company driver my truck goes down and I'm on the road, I get compensated. What are you going to do different by putting someone in a truck that other companies don't? What are you going to be able to do? And if you're giving them percentage of the spot rate, well, that could be a crap show, because right now the spot rates don't support that unless you've got a really good gig going on that's not really a spot rate. So these are the things that are running through my mind. These are the things I was talking about with Adam, and just for every bad broker, there's a bad truck driver, there's a bad carrier. So it's a two-way street. And so the idea is, if you're a good person, you're a good, moral, smart, willing to work with type person, you need to find like-minded people. You need to find the like-minded brokers that can keep you busy, that can keep your trucks full, that aren't just looking for the cheapest, rattle trap to haul their load of water. And everybody's trying to save a buck. Everybody. So you have these brokers putting out really low rates, or they've promised the customer too much, and then next thing you know, this solo run just turned into a team run, because now you got to do 900 miles in a day to make this load work, or else I'm going to lose the customer. And if they would have just paid a reasonable rate to begin with, it may not have trouble covering it, but who knows? A lot of brokers right now are frustrated because no one was working. They were frustrated before when capacity was in our favor and there was, 50 loads for 10 trucks. Were they making those relationships back then? No. And perhaps that's why they're reaching out now, is because they know that volume's going to jump up. And they don't want to lose their contracts. So they have to have good, reliable carriers. That's something that should have been done last year. Let's go to the comments here. Everything is temporary. I think we all expected January to be challenging. Let's make it through the month, and next, hopefully March leads to better rates and especially more volumes. Morning, guys. 33 and light breeze here, playing the hurry up and wait game at the Blue Buffalo Pet Food Warehouse in Richmond, Indiana. The one in Joplin's pretty good. I've had decent luck there. Frustration is trying to book a load out of Florida with today's economy, and they want to give 30-year-old rates. Makes me want to put my head through the wall. Jackknife TV, Pale Rider TV, everybody's TV. What's up? Todd Blackburn. Good morning. SST, what's up? I got several of those calls as well yesterday. Most days I'll get a few, but yesterday was significantly more calls than usual. Jason, Pigtail. Emotions are illogical, Steve. Live long and prosper. I like that. Logical dictation. Good morning, everyone, says Randy. Booked out of Denver, 12 stops, finishing in mid Florida. Get me out of the cold and snow. There you go. Steve, the lows with the lower rates, you don't have to say, but talk general, we're commodity similar, where they value or high value, just seeing if commodity is driving rate down or non urgent loads. It's hard to say. Because with the rate as low as I saw, I don't even call. And trying to book a reefer out of Indiana yesterday was just, what the hell's wrong with everybody? This is food. It wasn't some cheap load of rolled paper or bottled water. It was food. And the brokers will literally sit there and tell me, I'm desperate to move this load. Well, come up $200. No, I can't. And I'm still lower than the 15-day average. And so the higher ups at these brokerages are holding tight. And if the AI, the ones using AI, says we need to be at this, don't go above or below it, then they're just doing what they're told. Now, van, that's more prominent, the whole non-urgency of it. So I get that aspect of the game as well. If they're not desperate to move, they're going to hold their ground. They're going to tell you things like, well, we move 4 of these a day at this price. No, you don't. Because if this was such a great load and such a great rate, you wouldn't even have to post this to the low board. I'm not an idiot. I don't say that to them. I just like, hey, well, here's my number, and I've even called back 2 hours later. Hey, I noticed you still have this load. Are you willing to come up to my number? No? Okay. Well, there's 1,500 loads in the area. Have a good day. And they're not calling back. A lot of times that works. I got a friend who's getting out of the dairy business and into trucking, wants to grow about 20 trucks. He has no trucking experience. Well, he wouldn't be the first to try that, nor will he be the last. Like trucking's been around for quite a while. And we hit 20 trucks once. And, you have so many factors. You have the human element, you have the equipment element, you have the environment element. And that's what a lot of people did. They went out and bought these new high-priced trucks, put drivers in them, and the rates were killer. And then when the seas got rough, they didn't know how to handle that. It takes years to get up to 20 trucks. Years. Unless you got some scam going. Either years or high capital. Like you're able to go out and get lease trucks. So good luck to that person, Truckers Table. Hey, Coast to Coast isn't that bad. For a husband and wife team, it's probably a pretty good deal, man. Except for all the weather. All industries are going through a Tower of Babel experience, it seems. That's true. God, I need to get back on the road. I'm going to lose it. There's only so many times you can clean the house and take your pew-pews out for some fun. It also gets expensive too, right? I'm sure your friend had a contact with the trucking company to haul his milk. It's tough times, and that I'm in the dairy business if he's making this move. A lot of watching instead of being a person that gets it done, right? Black Diesel time, absolutely truth, says Shannon. Jackknife, bite your tongue. Never too much pew pew except ammo cost. Debt is chain around your neck. Eliminate debt and be free of banksters and tyrannical employers. Your way or the highway. Good luck. Buck Brown, yeah, he's barely breaking even and is fascinated with trucking. He's already signed up for trucking school. Well, here's what's going to happen, Truckers Table. He's gonna, and I'm 15 minutes behind on the comments. Sorry. What's going to happen is he'll get reality set in. I had this grand scheme of having 3 trucks and putting people in them. Obviously, I won't even put one in one. A dairy hauling company I once drove for is trying to sell out before they file bankruptcy right now as well. Whoever told you life was fair, they lied, right? I am the lion. Hear me roar. Meow. That's funny. Owner is also a board member of DFA. Signs are lighting up everywhere. A lot of these days. I was once told there are 2 kinds of ferry. Fair. One you one you go to and has rides, and the other one you pay in a taxi. What am I doing with my truck and trailer? Well, it's right now. It's just sitting there. I put my IFTA stickers on. Volume was high after the holiday, just like every holiday. Today, half as much as yesterday. Probably tomorrow the same. And that's the other element, BJ. I was getting some killer rates last 2 weeks. DAT trend line shows it, right? Big jump. How are you doing today, Snorelord? Says Truckers Education Network, i.e., the boss. He's rich. Well, how do you make $1 million in trucking? Well, you start off with $2 million. The dairy person has 2 advantages coming into trucking that will help: hard work ethic and business experience. Is that 20 owned trucks versus 20 owner operators? This dairy person has 2. Okay, already. I don't know why it showed up twice. Look at DIY. He's doing everything right, and he's struggling to grow. And from what I understand, it's more of a struggle for drivers for him than freight. It is. He's got freight coming out the wazoo, but can't find anybody to pull it, and it's good rates too. Well, it's not time to sell it. That's for sure. LOL. No, look, it's my truck and trailer get talked about a lot, and who knows what the future brings. I mean, I need to get it running because Jeff's going to need me to take a trailer up to Kansas City, I believe, here soon. So, um, and I still like driving, to be honest with you. But there's been a lot of stuff going on at home that I'm glad I've been home for, and personally in my personal life, and this dispatch service is fun. I dig it. When it's banging, it's banging. I love it. And I've acquired some really good relationships with some really good brokers. And the the drivers seem to, no one's given me any negative feedback. I mean, if there's negative feedback to be had, I wish they would. And by the way, we're going to stop here at 8 because there is a lot of work I got to do today. So, um, and through the wisdom of some great people in my circle, we'll succeed. Not a big deal. And my trailer might get leased to somebody, and the truck will it'll just be there. So, because if I sell my truck and then I decide I can't handle all of this and need to go back to driving, well, I'm not going to go out and buy a $200,000 truck. And here's the thing with used trucks, guys. If you're looking to buy a used truck this year, a lot of people haven't been able to afford to maintain their vehicles. So you definitely got to do your due diligence on checking out the vehicle. I know people that have filed bankruptcy that weren't able to put maintenance money back. And so the oil changes suffer, the tires have suffered. And so just be aware of that when you're looking at used equipment. He has a business degree. Well, I know a guy right now who's a millionaire. He's doing very well for himself. And he started from the garage on his business. No business degree. So, business degree is good, but I know people with business degrees that are perplexed by how trucking works. I know two personally, and they both told me the same thing. These people don't know each other. They came into the trucking world with all this knowledge and wisdom and degrees and experience, and are just like, well, why the hell does this happen? Because they don't understand the world of trucking. If you don't understand the world of trucking, well, there are people that have been driving for 30 years that still don't understand the world of trucking. Mr. Jesse just bought a big classic like mine, but you got to get on Zella to get more details. Every now and then I'll peek my head in and nobody's really talking. So Jesse got rid of that one Peterbilt he had. The truck stop by my house has 6 abandoned trucks sitting there for 3 months now. They just put 2 stickers on them. People already been stealing stuff off of them. Wow. Yeah, look, 2023 is going to be interesting. And it's still doable. There's still some doable rates out there. You just got to go outside of your box a little bit. Um and if you could sort through the mess, then, just find something that's consistent. Find a lane, stay in it, you know. Um if you're doing multiple stops, make sure that the rate per mile and the rate per day is good. If you're running all over the place and that stresses you out, do the math. I was talking to a driver yesterday. I'm like, so what'd you net each day that you've been running like all over the place? He's like, X amount. I'm like, yeah, there's easier ways to make that X amount without putting, a ton of miles and chains on your truck. Um, you have the doom and gloomers that say that 23 is going to be a horrible year. I think that, in my opinion, there's potential for this to come back up. And the first quarter is going to be the most difficult, but if you get through the first quarter, you're fine. Create your efficiency, get your finances in order, you know, you'll make it. No, he hasn't sold any trucks, just buying more. The classic he bought has a cat in it. Did it come with the truck? That's funny. So, anyways, guys, let's look at the 123. Let's look at real quick, and then we're gonna end this feed. Let's look at the hot market maps. Let's share the screen here. 48065 123lowboard.com. And let's do van first. Look at all this red in Van. Usually even Washington is lit up, but this is a no-go zone as far as weather and rates. When you're stuck on the mountain having to put chains on and you're making $1.60 a mile, you're gonna hate your life. California is bipolar. By the time you get down there, it might be good. By the time you get down there, it might be bad. And a lot of it's jumping up and down I-5. Your best rates, like here's the load. 38.50 on the rate, 349 a mile. This is for Van going from Chino, California to Pasco, Washington. There's a lot of bad weather coming through here. And your return loads, what do they look like? $1.76, $1.52, $1.83. So when you put the two together, is that profitable? Well, it depends on your operation. But do notice that this is one broker. Obviously, they've got a shipper in Walla Walla or Yakima. And they've got all these different cities in California not too far apart. Look at the miles. They're all about the same miles, so it's probably one load. Those are the games that get frustrating when you're frustrated, empty at a truck stop looking for a load. So let's look at reefer. You got Idaho that lights up. North Dakota lights up a little bit. Washington, Oregon are still a crap show. Arizona lights up a little bit. So let's look at California again. Texas, Utah, Washington, Texas, Utah. Here's one to Joplin, Missouri. Let's look at that one. Fontana to Joplin. Average rate is $1.99 a mile for reefer. And so you look at the reloads, Missouri to California, there's one. See what the average is for there. St. Charles to Woodward, California, average is $1.97. So about the same going in and out of California, which is, add your 55 miles an hour and your high fuel prices. Is it worth it for that? In my opinion, no. If you live in California, you got no choice. But I guarantee you the best loads aren't on the low board, and they're with dedicated carriers right now. Here's your best rate. Stockton to Medley, Florida. The average is 207. They're at $1.94. Pallets of dried goods. So when you take this load, let's say we take it for the high. What's the highest rate it's been? $3.12 a mile. That was probably that was back in July. This graph is pretty cool. I dig it. Look, you want to be an owner operator? Get on this low board and look at the posted rates. Let's say you're not a negotiator and see what kind of money you can make just by doing mock loads. Look at the times. Here's one that was paying $307 a mile, $4,000 to go from Arvin, California to Aurora, Colorado. It looks like it's 3 pickups. So that's why it's got more money on it. It's produce. It's got more money on it, which is why, because no one wants to do multiple pickups. A lot of produce is like that. I notice apples are like that. And I'm still learning the reefer world. So here's a load: Parlier, California to Center Valley, Pennsylvania. Picks up on the 7th, delivers on the 12th. All right, so picks up Saturday, delivers Thursday. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 7 days. Let's say you can get them up to 58. Is that right? That's not right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 divided by 6. That's $966 a day minus fuel. So the more fuel efficient truck you got, the better that load will pay you. It's about 49 hours of drive time, so you're going to shoot your whole week up. You might be able to do some shorties after that. But anybody know? So let's look at the reloads out of Pennsylvania. PA to anywhere. So you could probably do a couple more days of driving. So let's look at one of these. Allentown to Belleville. That's at $1,000. Pick that up on the 12th, deliver on the 13th. So that puts you at 6,600, right? Oh, 6,800. I'm just rounding up and down, guys. This is just generic. And then, we got to get that load back. And then that lands you on Friday. So let's do a weekend load where we get a restart in. So let's look at out of Michigan. It's not giving me the. Out of Michigan, you pick something for another grand or maybe $2,000 for 600, 700 miles, get a restart in. So you can have an $8,000 week there. From Saturday to from Saturday to Friday, you'd be at 6,800. So that's not bad, depending on what your costs are. You could probably manage a couple of grand. You go in the right spot. So I mean, there's different ways to. There's 100 different ways to do this. All right, so for you flatbed freaks, step deck. I mean, flatbed people. I'm sorry. Um, there's your states. Washington, Oregon light up. So let's take a look at one of their loads. Best rates are going to Cheyenne, Wyoming. Here's a load: Sumas, Washington, going to Siloam Springs, Arkansas. Average rate is $1.79. And the highest it's been is, it doesn't give me a high, so there's not a whole lot of data here. 328 back in March of last year, before the 75% volume decrease in flatbed happened. So there's 100 ways to do this, guys. It'll come up reasonably as long as enough trucks leave the industry. The problem is everyone will be back on YouTube, start hustling guys back into sketchy leases and truck payments coaching. Suffer through the first couple of months. I'm having a banger good week this week, but I booked my loads early in the week, and that's what you kind of have to do. There's this argument whether it be last minute or ahead, and I think it just depends on the commodity and the broker in the area. Calls, dispatch services, whatever else they can manipulate guys into trying to find a quick buck. Let the positivity flow. If you need a dispatcher, hire a loader snores, best dispatcher ever. Math is hard. That is hard. Thank you for the super chat there, Don. So, anyways, guys, I'm gonna get off here. Strength for today, hope for tomorrow. Don't be a don't wanter. Now's not the time. If you want to keep your head above water, find yourself a good platform, find yourself some good business relationships, and find yourself going outside of your comfort zone or your box, and you'll make it no problem. Easy breezy. That being said, almost screwed up here. If you're watching the replay, I appreciate you. Thanks for everybody that supports the channel. And with that being said, strength for today, hope for tomorrow. Peace.